Joining me now, Noah Diffenbaugh. He's a professor at Stanford's Doerr School of Sustainability. His research is focused on understanding the impacts of the climate system. Good to have you. Thanks so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
So first on the issue at hand, authorities say the French wildfires will burn for weeks, perhaps even months, before firefighters can fully extinguish them. Is there anything they can do now to decrease the duration, or do they just have to watch so much of the land burn, in effect?
Well, one of the challenges of these really large fires is, that they do cover a very large extent, and, that they're, consuming fuel that as the heat waves continue, that fuel's continuing to dry out. So, we see this around the world where these really large fires actually burn for many weeks. The key question for people in the region is containment. And, hopefully for everyone living there and visiting that, containment will come relatively soon.
A recent study published by the World Weather Attribution has found that the recurring heat waves in Europe would have been, quote, virtually impossible just a few decades ago. And of course, they're not the first, like yourself, to draw a connection between climate change and these longer, drier periods that lead to what we're seeing here. Can you explain to our viewers why? How those conditions add up to what we're seeing play out across Europe right now?
Well, with extreme events like heat waves, like these wildfires, there's always a complex set of ingredients that come together, and the weather conditions that create these heat waves, sometimes called heat domes, leading to these extreme wildfire conditions. These are naturally occurring, but what global warming is doing is putting a thumb on the scale. And what that means is that when we get the weather patterns that produce these heat waves, produce the kind of severe wildfire weather that is occurring right now, they're more likely to be more severe. So the heat waves, when we get those same atmospheric weather patterns, the heat waves more likely to be more severe. And then the vegetation is more likely to be dry, accumulating, what the jargon often refers to as fuel aridity. So just think about how dry and flammable that landscape is. So it's really about, pushing the extremes into an unprecedented state.
I remember our colleague Bill Weir, who I'm sure you're aware of, covers climate for us. He told me some time ago that when folks like yourself were doing models of the impact of climate change a number of years ago, that the conditions we're seeing today outstrip even those models. And I wonder, do you have a similar view that what we're seeing now is at the worst end, or even beyond the worst end, of what the models had predicted as to the weather impacts of climate change?
Well, as a scientist, I've tried to go back and actually ask that question systematically with my own papers that I published years ago, and then on record in the scientific literature, and then coming back years or even a decade later and ask what's happened since we published that paper. It turns out that with these extreme events, it's actually been pretty consistent. And I think one of the challenges is that the frequency of these extreme events, particularly heat events, will tend to accelerate with each increment of global warming. So as we get a half a degree or a degree of global warming, actually the frequency of the most extreme heat will actually increase exponentially. And so it really feels like this is happening faster and faster, and that's because it is, and that's something that's linked to the pretty basic statistics and physics of the climate system that's been known for quite a while.
Before we go, I just want to ask you, given that the politics intervene, right, just a fact of life, what is your reaction as a climate scientist to see the U.S. as one of the world's biggest polluters, biggest economy, being led by administration who not only has tried to roll back climate policy, but even continues to dispute climate science? What's your reaction to that as you see impacts like we're showing on our screen right now?
Well, as a scientist, I would hope that we're all, motivated by discovering the truth, and that we're all, committed to objective evidence, regardless of what the results are. And certainly in my own research, and with my research group here at Stanford, we continuously remind ourselves to be skeptical, to be hypothesis driven, and to stick with what the evidence shows. And the reality is that I actually used to be a lot more optimistic about our ability to adapt to a changing climate. Certainly humans are ingenious. We're adapted to many different kinds of conditions around the world. But the reality is actually, for these extreme events, they're actually coming quicker and quicker, and the gap between what we're prepared for and what's actually happening is growing. So, I think it's consistent with the evidence in terms of how the climate system works. Where the gap is really growing is what we're prepared for, and it's going to require investment and real proactive adaptation in order to catch up with what's already happened and to leapfrog ahead to be prepared for the future.
Yeah. Hard to adapt to raging wildfires, of course. Noah Diffenbaugh, appreciate you joining.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure.